One of the things my dad would always say is, it's her choice. No one put a gun to her head to get in that car. It's fucking loud. It smells. It shakes the ground. It's a complete assault on the senses.
More than 20 years ago, it was unheard of for women to race against, much less beat, men on the professional drag racing circuit. Well, the big news on the horizon today is a hot little teenager in Santa Rosa.
The only culture in our house was cars, right? And so I didn't know there was anything else. There was a subdivision going in down the street from our house, so no houses were there yet, but there was fresh asphalt. So we take the car down there, and I got caught in some gravel and spun out and went over the curb, and so my face hit the steering wheel and I actually broke my nose. I mean, that's why it's got this bump on it. I'm 4 years old. So like, I'm crying when Dad gets to me and he actually berates me for crying. Like, are you crying? Did you see what you did to the car? And I think he even said something to the effect of, are you a girl? Like, why are you crying? No, yes, I don't know, you know. My name is Mendy Fry. I was, until I was 16, the only child of a man who was a mechanic and fabricator. My dad tried racing a lot of things, but he wasn't very good. He was a better mechanic and a better fabricator than he was a driver. He planned on having a son so that he could teach everything that he knew to that boy, but he decided to teach it to me instead.
But her interest in the sport was never forced.
Well, I've been around it all my life through my dad, and it's just one of those things just kind of happened. It was never really expected of me, but everyone kind of knew that I'd be in it when I got older.
When your person that you look up to tells you this is the only thing that matters, then you do that thing. By the age 15, I was actually building race car bodies for people and fuel tanks and seats and floorboards in the cars that my dad built. I have a relationship to tools that is unlike other women, I guess. Drag racing is something that unless you have a lot of money, you play with other people's money. And we had no money, so we were dependent upon other people to continue in the sport.
Like most teenagers, Mendy Fry's summer interests run from Bruce Springsteen to late-night pizzas and a boyfriend. But on weekends, she jumps headlong into a man's world. It's a world where girls are more likely to be the racer's trophy.
There was this man who had a race car that raced in the same class as mine, and he had a spare engine, and so he offered for us to borrow his engine. And then we went kind of racing as a two-car team. He ended up coming in, and he's going to be like the shop foreman. One night, it was he and I at the shop working late on the race car. Dad had gone home, and he tried to kiss me. He forced himself on me. He kissed me, and he like completely professed his love for me. Like I just would think that, man, I must be flirting, or I must be doing something wrong. It's my fault. But it just didn't stop. I didn't know what to do. And I was put in this situation where if I ruin this relationship, my dad's business is going to suffer, my race car is going to go away, and I don't even know if Dad's going to get mad at me. The fact that he loved me and that he was protective of me still did not keep him from exploiting me. You don't know what that line is where you're losing control until you lose control. Like, I had a stomach ache all the time. And then I started to hate it. I mean, I felt like I just hated it. It was oppressive. I need to get out of here. I have to have control over my own life. I ended up walking away from drag racing. I went to, I call it lovingly, I call it 13th grade. I went to community college. No one in my family had ever gone to college. It was the smartest thing I've ever done. I immersed myself in public accounting of all things. Getting Pricewaterhouse CPA on my resume has made up for a lot of sins in planning, you know, in my life. Whatever I'm doing it at full fucking speed. There's no half throttle, it's full throttle or no throttle. A knock on the door brought me back into racing in 2000, and it was like, oh my God, this is what I'm missing. You know what I mean? There was something missing and this was it. And I couldn't believe how much I loved it now. Doesn't every woman have that biological clock, right? Tick. Mine was for a race car instead of kids. And it's more fun now than it used to be. I didn't know that I was going to change so much, that my perspective on everything would be enriched and broadened like it was. I personally am really looking forward to the day where it's not an anomaly, right? Like, I'm just another drag racer, you know what I mean? Especially me, like, I grew up in a shop, right? I've been working on cars my whole life. I don't see myself any different than anybody else that I'm competing against. I mean, I want to be known as a great driver. I don't want to be known as a great female driver.